Hi, I'm Chuck Lofton, and thank you for joining us today through our social media platforms and our 13 Plus weather app. I'm going to spend some time today talking about the threat for severe weather. And of course, we started off this morning with just absolutely gorgeous temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. But you know, it's not supposed to be that warm. So later today, as a frontal system moves through in a deep area of low pressure through the Midwest, we have a threat for severe weather. I would say a medium risk of high winds and damaging winds with a lower risk, but still a risk nonetheless, of rotating storms or tornadoes, large hail, and then in some of these locally heavy downpours, a little bit of flooding. Now, throughout the day, we've watched as the cloud cover starts to roll in from the west, and the severe storm risk leads us to a weather impact alert day. And it's primarily between 3 o'clock this afternoon and 11 o'clock today. Now, there's a reason for that. We're expecting the main threat in these storms to be winds. In fact, not just in the storms, but ahead of the storms. 45-mile-per-hour gusts certainly are possible. And then, again, that lower risk of hail. Secondary would be rotating storms and a few tornadoes. But here's what you need to do, and that's always what I like to emphasize when we have days like this. Be prepared to get indoors if you're outdoors. I know some of you have the day off work. You're in a staycation and you're cleaning up your yard. Be prepared to get indoors. Monitor our radar, and you can do that on the WTHR weather app. Also, make plans to get those warnings either on your phone or watching Channel 13, and then follow our 13 weather team on our social media platforms, as well as the 13 Plus weather app, and of course all of our newscasts. So let's be specific about what the heck is going on here. We do have this risk of severe weather, a slight risk of severe weather. So on a scale of 1 to 5, that would be a 2, and that's for scattered showers and thunderstorms, some of which could be strong. You'll notice here, Petersburg, Covington, out towards Terre Haute, Clinton, extreme western Indiana. We're talking about a more enhanced risk, so that would mean that the thunderstorms are more numerous and actually could be more severe in nature. Now, you'll notice that throughout the Midwest, the severe wind odds are higher here, and that's one of the reasons we have that slight risk of severe weather. A wind advisory was placed into effect early this morning. When I came in, there were more counties on this. For instance, some of these counties have been taken out of the wind advisory. So you folks in Newcastle and Richmond, down at the reservoir in Brookville, and then east of Greensburg, near Oldenburg, you are now out of this, as is Peru and Marion and Kokomo. That doesn't mean you're not going to get strong winds. I actually think you will. In fact, Kokomo, I think it's very likely your winds will be gusting in excess of 30. But as you'll notice here, we're not talking for our northern counties the awful winds that we may expect from Indianapolis on west. This is a look at by 2 o'clock in the morning. Technically, the wind advisory will not be in effect, but we still could experience 20 to 40 mile per hour winds. So we're talking about a protracted time, folks, when wind is going to be an issue around here. And I think this really kicks in from 11 o'clock to 8 p.m. That would be the lion's share of when we'll get the wind. Now, let's talk about tornadoes, because we had this outbreak of 8 tornadoes in Indiana over the weekend. Most of those were south Oakland City, the hardest hit, not far from Oakland City University. I've had so many friends that have attended that school, and that town of Oakland City really received some heavy damage. There were some in the west and also to the north. But let's show you where that high probability is now. Just like it was over the weekend, the highest probability would be here. Effingham, that's where 57 and 70 come together, all those fueling stations all the way up to Champaign, Illinois, and really just south of DeKalb, which is a Chicago western suburb. That's where Northern Illinois University is. In Indiana, the best chance of seeing tornadic action or rotating storms would be right here. So this would be through Benton County, Southeast Fountain High School. You'd be under that. Covington, Petersburg, down towards Terre Haute and Clinton. Here we have a lesser chance of tornadoes, but you never say never, because, right, this is the spring. We're going to get up to 67 degrees, and we've got storms coming through. So we'll keep an eye on that, but damaging winds is primarily what we're looking at. If you were with me on Sunrise this morning, I was showing you the most bizarre stuff. I think it was 6 o'clock this morning, Kansas City was at 68 degrees, 100 miles to the west, and really it was about 90 miles to west. There was a blizzard warning. Can you believe that? But that's the strength of this storm. And what's going on is the subtropical jet stream, we used to call this the Pacific flow of the jet, is going right over Indianapolis. Now, that does two things. One, it enhances this strong wind out of the south, a southerly flow right along the jet stream, and that kicks those temperatures way above average. But it also does something else. It separates warm and cold. It's like a highway in the sky. So on one side of this then is this very cold air with temperatures north of the jet stream behind the system. So you're talking about that area with the blizzard warnings that is very cold, and then just you have such a defined line, and that's when severe weather is created. And you could almost bank. Anytime you see a situation like that in the spring, you're going to have at least a risk of severe weather. Now today, as I mentioned, unseasonably warm. This is the last full day of winter. Did you know that? 67 will be our high. And I would say, folks, anytime after 3 is when this stuff comes in. But here in the metro area, we are looking primarily for 5 p.m. So by all means, tonight, when you get home from work or school, 4 p.m., watch our newscasts all the way through 6:30, because the weather's going to be changing, and Sean and Angela will be guiding you through all that. It's going to be an interesting night. I would also say this. Pacers play Minnesota. Huge game tonight at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Pacers coming off that huge win against the Mavs. And how about this? As you go into, I was going to say Bankers Live, Gainbridge Fieldhouse, you'll probably have showers and thunderstorms and may still have some lingering storms after the Pacers get that win against Minnesota later on tonight. All right, now let's show you spring. And spring comes in tomorrow at 5:01. By that time, the storm will be out of here, but what we're going to experience, I think, is some really cold air moving in. You know, there are 2 vernal equinoxes. We call it you could actually call the autumnal equinox a vernal equinox as well. But spring equinox and then the autumnal equinox. And let's show you what's going to be going on. Again, 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:01 to be specific. The Earth's axis will be tilted neither toward or away from the sun. And what that means is we have nearly, not exactly, not to the second, but nearly equal amounts of daylight and darkness. So tomorrow will be the first day of spring. We'll leave this winter mess and go into that. But let's show you, speaking of winter mess, what's going to be going on later on this afternoon. So here we are at 4:30 this afternoon. Do not be surprised. In fact, I just saw one computer model a few minutes ago. Has this coming in a little bit earlier. So this is 4:30 in the afternoon. This is 7 o'clock tonight. We quadrupled the amount of counties with rain and thunderstorms. And then, you know, you may be getting light rain, but it's blowing sideways because it's in a 40-mile-per-hour breeze. So keep that in mind. Hang on to the steering wheel. This is when people will be right in Gainbridge Fieldhouse enjoying the game. And look at these showers and thunder boomers from basically Fort Wayne, Shipshewana, and Amish country through Peru and Kokomo, Noblesville metro area over towards Ball State, and then down towards IU, Columbus, Seymour. That's when the brunt of what we would expect would be very strong storms will be moving through here. Now, on the backside of this, remember I talked about how dramatically different the weather was this morning from Kansas City to just 100 miles west? Check this out. Storm moves through. Tomorrow morning, we'll be with you bright and early on Sunrise talking about somewhere in Indiana getting some snow showers. Just crazy stuff. And then we'll start to get some sunshine. But what we're in store for is a very, very upset weather pattern today. It's nice outside right now. That is going to change. And again, a weather impact alert day. So let's serve up for you the forecast. And I'm going to walk you through this because this is bizarre, folks. Today, the last full day of winter. The good news, we get up to 67 degrees. The bad news is it's a weather impact alert day. Those storms come in, and primarily we're talking in that 8-hour period between 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. That will move out on the backside of this, especially north of Indianapolis, very windy conditions with the chance for some snow and rain. And again, farther north you are, the more likely you are to tap into that, because what's going to happen is the low moves through. This picks all that moisture up off of Lake Michigan and So that's what you're experiencing there. 36 in the morning with a high of only 43. I'll do the math for you. 24 degrees cooler tomorrow's high than today. Then on Friday, sunny and seasonal. That'll be the best day out of the next 5 or 6, I think. Friday's a great day. By Saturday and Sunday, we've got another system moving through another area of low pressure that will bring us cold air. So some showers in the morning, sunshine in the afternoon. Be sure and watch Lindsay for Weekend Sunrise this weekend. She's going to have a lot to talk about. 49, and then we've got this rain coming in late in the day, Sunday 49. However, remember the average high, depending on where you live, is 51, 52, or 53 during this time period. And all of these days, we are below average. Again, a weather impact alert day. We're going to be updating you on our social media channels at noon, at 4, at 5, at 6, and 11 on WTHR Channel 13. I'm Chuck Lofton. Thank you so much for watching us. Be careful and make sure you stay safe during the day today.